Comfort is often the first thing God disturbs when He is moving you into a new season of favor. Not your enemy, not your finances, not your address, your comfort. Because comfort has a voice. Comfort tells you, stay here. Comfort tells you, do not risk it. Comfort tells you, this is enough. Comfort tells you, at least you know this pain. And the tragedy of many people is that they have made peace with a place that God has already finished using. Now stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if God is favoring me, should it not feel easier? Should doors not open? Should people not celebrate me? Should increase not come quickly? That is where many believers misunderstand the movement of God. Favor does not always begin with applause. Favor does not always begin with promotion. Favor does not always begin with a crowd calling your name. Sometimes favor begins as a holy dissatisfaction in your spirit. Something that used to satisfy you no longer satisfies you. A conversation you used to enjoy now drains you. A place you used to call safe now feels too small. A routine you used to hide inside now begins to feel like a prison. That does not always mean something is wrong. Sometimes it means something is being awakened. Sometimes the discomfort is not the devil attacking your peace. Sometimes it is God attacking your limitation. Because if God allowed all comfort to keep sounding sweet, you would never leave what cannot carry your future. You would decorate the cage. You would call survival wisdom. You would call fear patience. You would call delay humility. And God loves you too much to let you become loyal to something that was only meant to serve one season. Listen carefully. This message is not about superstition. We are not chasing feelings. We are not building doctrine out of moods. We are not saying every irritation is a divine sign and every closed door is a heavenly announcement. No. You need discernment. You need prayer. You need obedience. You need alignment with your assignment. But there are moments when God begins to move inside your life before anything visible changes outside your life. The furniture looks the same. The job looks the same. The people look the same. The schedule looks the same. But inside you, something is shifting. Something is crying out, I was designed for more than this. You were not created merely to be comfortable. You were created to fulfill purpose. Comfort is pleasant, but purpose is powerful. Comfort rests you, but purpose requires you. Comfort asks, what will keep me safe? Purpose asks, why was I born? And when God begins to favor your assignment, He will often disturb anything that has become a substitute for obedience. So if your life feels uncomfortable right now, do not panic too quickly. Do not assume God has abandoned you because your old patterns no longer give you peace. Do not assume you're failing because you cannot enjoy what you used to tolerate. It may be that heaven is making the old place lose its voice so the new assignment can finally speak clearly. Stay with this message. Do not listen casually. This is not entertainment for people who want inspiration and no transformation. If you are serious about becoming who God designed you to be, subscribe, lean in, and make this declaration in the comments. I am ready to move with purpose, not comfort. Because a new season of favor often begins when God makes all comfort unable to satisfy your design purpose. Now here's the foundation you must understand before you misread the whole season. Favor is not luck. Luck is the language of people who do not understand assignment. Luck says, maybe it happens, maybe it does not. Purpose says, I was designed, I was sent, I was manufactured with intention. Favor is not random kindness thrown into your life to make you more comfortable. Favor is divine assistance for divine assignment. Favor is heaven helping earth accomplish what heaven intended. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking. But when people say favor, they usually mean promotion. They mean money. They mean opportunity. They mean attention. They mean someone notice them, call them, open the door for them, give them a platform, increase their income. Yes, those things can be expressions of favor, but they are not the definition of favor. If you make the expression the definition, you will chase the gift and miss the assignment. Favor is not God decorating your comfort. Favor is God empowering your assignment. Favor is not God saying, let me make your life easier so you can remain unchanged. Favor is God saying, let me supply what your purpose requires so my will can be done through your life. That is why favor does not always feel convenient. Sometimes favor gives you responsibility before it gives you recognition. Sometimes favor gives you discipline before it gives you doors. Sometimes favor gives you correction before it gives you increase. Because God is not committed to your ego. God is committed to His purpose. Do not reduce God to a promoter of selfish ambition. That is a shallow view of favor. That is spiritual immaturity dressed in religious language. You cannot call every desire favor. You cannot call every open door favor. You cannot call every increase favor if the increase pulls you away from obedience. The enemy can offer visibility. The enemy can offer shortcuts. The enemy can offer applause. But applause without assignment is noise. Promotion without preparation is danger. Recognition without responsibility will expose you before it establishes you. God does not favor laziness. He does not anoint excuses. He does not bless imitation and call it destiny. He does not empower irresponsibility and call it purpose. God favors obedience. God favors readiness. God favors discipline. God favors the person who can be trusted with the thing they have been asking for. You want favor, but can God trust your schedule? You want favor, but can God trust your mouth? You want favor, but can God trust your private life? You want doors, but can God trust what you will become after the door opens? This is where people get confused. They think favor is God giving them what they want. No, favor is God aligning them with what He intended. Your Creator is not guessing about your life. A manufacturer never creates a product without purpose. Before the product is produced, the function is decided. Before the function is activated, the design is completed. And before the design is released, the environment of use is already understood. If God designed you, then He also knows the seasons that fit you, the relationships that sharpen you, the environments that mature you, and the responsibilities that reveal you. That means some people cannot go with you because they do not fit the assignment. Some places cannot keep you because they cannot cultivate the assignment. Some opportunities must be refused because they flatter your ego but starve your purpose. Some comforts must be disturbed because they keep you asleep when God is trying to make you useful. The question is not, am I comfortable? The question is, am I becoming useful to the kingdom? You were not born merely to consume blessings. You were born to distribute purpose. You were not born merely to be admired. You were born to solve something, carry something, build something, represent something. Your life is not an accident searching for applause. Your life is a design carrying an assignment. And when you understand that, you stop begging God to bless your convenience and you start asking Him to align your life with His intention. This is why favor often begins with adjustment. God adjusts your appetite. God adjusts your circle. God adjusts your pace. God adjusts your standards. God adjusts your tolerance. Things you used to laugh at do not amuse you anymore. Things you used to chase do not impress you anymore. Things you used to call success begin to feel empty because your spirit is outgrowing your old definition of blessing. Listen to me carefully. Favor is not always more. Sometimes favor is less distraction. Favor is not always a bigger crowd. Sometimes favor is a cleaner circle. Favor is not always immediate increase. Sometimes favor is hidden preparation. Favor is not always God adding something. Sometimes favor is God removing what would have destroyed your capacity to carry what He promised. So stop measuring favor only by what opened. Measure it also by what God is forming in you. Are you more obedient? Are you more disciplined? Are you more focused? Are you more surrendered? Are you becoming easier for God to direct and harder for distraction to control? That is favor. Because the greatest evidence of favor is not that life is serving your desires. The greatest evidence of favor is that your life is coming into agreement with your assignment. Now, the first sign that God is shifting you is that He disturbs the place that used to feel safe. The place did not change. You changed. The room is the same, but your spirit is no longer at rest in it. The conversation is the same, but now it feels shallow. The habit is the same, but now it feels dangerous. The relationship is the same, but now something in you says, I cannot keep giving my future to people who only recognize my past. Stop right there. Do not misunderstand me. I am not talking about emotional instability. I am not talking about running every time you get uncomfortable. I am not talking about quitting because you are tired, offended, bored, or impatient. Impatience wants escape. Holy discomfort awakens responsibility. Impatience says, get me out because I do not want to be stretched. Holy discomfort says, get me ready because I can no longer betray what God is forming in me. There is a difference between being restless because you lack discipline and being restless because your assignment is calling you higher. One is immaturity. The other is awakening. One runs from process. The other responds to purpose. One wants relief. The other wants alignment. You must discern the difference, because if you call every discomfort an attack, you may rebuke the very thing God sent to move you. I have watched people pray against the pressure that was actually producing them. They say, devil, leave me alone, when heaven is saying, child, get up. They say, I bind this restlessness, when God is using that restlessness to expose a place that has become too small for their obedience. They want peace, but what they really want is passivity. Peace is not the absence of movement. Peace is agreement with God. Passivity is agreement with fear. Do not confuse the two. Comfort can become a prison when it protects you from growth. Comfort is not evil, but comfort becomes dangerous when it becomes your master. A bed is good when you need rest, but if you stay in the bed when it is time to work, that bed becomes an enemy of your assignment. A season is good when it trains you, but if you worship the season after God has finished using it, that season becomes a cage. A relationship is good when it sharpens you, but if it keeps reducing you to who you used to be, that relationship becomes a limitation. God will use discomfort to reveal what familiarity has hidden. You can be so used to dysfunction that you call it normal. You can be so used to smallness that you call it humility. You can be so used to delay that you call it patience. You can be so used to being needed by broken people that you call it love, when sometimes it is fear of being alone. And God will disturb you, not because He hates where you are, but because He loves where He is taking you. When God is shifting you, He often makes staying still more painful than stepping forward. That is mercy. Because some of you would never move if the old place stayed comfortable. You would never confront the habit if it still rewarded you. You would never leave the circle if it still fed your ego. You would never obey the instruction if disobedience still felt peaceful. So God allows the old oil to stop flowing. He allows the old conversation to become irritating. He allows the old routine to become heavy. He allows the old hiding place to lose its covering. And now you are wondering, why can I not enjoy what I used to enjoy? Why do I feel convicted where I used to feel entertained? Why do I feel lonely in rooms full of people I used to need? Why do I feel pulled toward discipline when my flesh still wants convenience? Because favor is disturbing your old agreement. God is breaking your contract with comfort. He is showing you that safety without purpose is not safety. It is slow death. Listen carefully. The most dangerous place in your life is not always the place that hurts you. Sometimes it is the place that numbs you. Pain will make you cry out. Numbness will make you settle. Pain tells you something needs attention. Numbness tells you nothing is wrong while purpose is dying quietly. That is why God will sometimes permit a holy irritation. He will let you feel the weight of staying the same. He will let you become uncomfortable with excuses. He will let you become dissatisfied with average. He will let you become allergic to environments that keep you shallow, distracted, and dependent. Do not fight every disturbance. Examine it. Pray through it. Ask, is this fear or is this instruction? Is this offense or is this conviction? Is this impatience or is this responsibility waking up in me? Because the enemy uses confusion to make you move too soon, but comfort uses fear to make you move too late. Discernment is knowing the difference. If God is disturbing your safe place, do not panic. Get sober. Get quiet. Get honest. Stop romanticizing what God is exposing. Stop defending what is draining you. Stop calling it loyalty when it is really bondage. Stop calling it peace when it is really paralysis. If the place that once held you now feels too tight, it may be because your assignment has grown larger than your environment. God is not trying to make you miserable. He is trying to make you mobile. He is trying to move you from survival into stewardship, from hiding into responsibility, from comfort into calling. The discomfort is not always rejection. Sometimes it is direction. It is not always punishment. Sometimes it is permission to outgrow what could no longer develop you. So when the old place loses its voice, do not beg it to sing again. When the old comfort stops satisfying you, do not medicate the hunger. Let the hunger speak. Let the burden rise. Let obedience become more important than ease. Because when God is announcing a new season of favor, He will often disturb the place that used to feel safe until staying there becomes more painful than stepping forward. And once God disturbs the place that used to feel safe, do not be surprised when He begins to close the doors that used to feel available. First, the discomfort happens inside you. Then the restriction happens around you. First, your spirit loses peace with the old pattern. Then the opportunity you were depending on begins to shut. The call does not come. The invitation dries up. The person stops responding. The system that used to make room for you suddenly has no room. And if you are not discerning, you will call it rejection when it is really protection. Stop right there. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, if God is favoring me, why would He close a door? If God is with me, why did that opportunity fail? If I prayed, fasted, believed, prepared, and showed up, why did the answer come back no? Because every yes is not God, and every no is not the devil. Some open doors are traps with polished handles. Some closed doors are mercy dressed like disappointment. You must grow up in discernment. Immature people think favor means access to everything. Mature people understand favor means alignment with the right thing. A door can be open and still be wrong. A room can welcome you and still reduce you. An opportunity can increase your visibility and decrease your obedience. That is not favor. That is temptation wearing perfume. That is your ego being entertained while your assignment is being negotiated. There are doors God will close because they cannot carry your future. They may have carried your gift, but they cannot carry your growth. They may have recognized your talent, but they cannot form your character. They may have applauded your past, but they cannot steward your next. And God loves purpose too much to let your future be managed by a door that only knows who you used to be. A closed door can be God's way of refusing to let your past negotiate with your future. Read that again in your spirit. Your past will always try to get a seat at the table of your destiny. It will say, remember who you were. Remember what you needed. Remember who accepted you. Remember how safe this felt. But God will shut the door and say, that season is finished. That identity is expired. That version of you cannot sign contracts for the person I am forming now. Do not run back to doors that God had to close to save you. Do not keep knocking on what heaven has locked. Do not keep begging for access to a place where your obedience was shrinking. Some of you are grieving a rejection that was actually rescue. You are mourning a delay that was actually divine timing. You are offended over a closed opportunity that would have changed you to a lesser identity and called it success. Now here is where people become dangerous to themselves. They let commentary interpret what only counsel has the right to handle. There is a difference between counsel and commentary. Counsel comes from people who fear God, know your assignment, and are willing to tell you the truth. Commentary comes from people who worship access, celebrate noise, and measure destiny by who let you in. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary distracts you. Counsel asks, did God send you? Commentary asks, did they choose you? Do not let people who worship open doors convince you that every closed door is failure. Some people are so addicted to being seen that they cannot recognize being protected. They think if the room is famous, it must be favor. They think if the platform is large, it must be God. They think if the invitation flatters them, it must be destiny. That is childish. The devil offered Jesus kingdoms. Visibility was on the table. Access was on the table. But access without obedience is corruption. God may close what flatters your ego to open what forms your character. He may close the door that would have made you look important but kept you spiritually shallow. He may close the relationship that made you feel wanted but kept you emotionally dependent. He may close the opportunity that would have paid you more but trained you to compromise quietly. He may close the platform that would have praised your gift while poisoning your soul. Listen carefully. Rejection is not always evidence that you are unqualified. Sometimes rejection is evidence that you are being redirected. Delay is not always denial. Sometimes delay is God refusing to release you into something your character cannot yet sustain. A closed door is not always punishment. Sometimes it is preparation. Sometimes it is protection. Sometimes it is God saying, I will not let you be celebrated in a place where you would be slowly destroyed. So stop personalizing every closure. Stop letting a no define your worth. Stop letting one locked door make you question the manufacturer who designed you. You are not random. You are not discarded. You are not forgotten because a person did not choose you. Your assignment did not die because an opportunity disappeared. If God gave you purpose, no human rejection has the authority to cancel it. But you must respond correctly. When a door closes, do not become bitter. Become discerning. Do not become desperate. Become disciplined. Do not start manipulating your way into what God is shutting. Ask, Lord, what are you protecting? What are you correcting? What are you redirecting? What identity are you refusing to let me return to? Because sometimes the door is closed, not because you are being punished, but because God is preventing your old appetite from making decisions for your new season. And when God closes it, let it close with dignity. Do not stand there begging wooden hinges to explain divine strategy. Keep your heart clean. Keep your hands ready. Keep your spirit submitted. The same God who closes doors also opens doors no man can shut. But he will not open the right door while you are still worshiping the wrong one. So release the door that cannot carry your future. Trust the Father who sees beyond your disappointment. Move with discernment, not panic. Move with obedience, not ego. Because sometimes the closure is the announcement that favor is no longer willing to let you live beneath your assignment. And after God closes the door, watch what he does next. He starts adjusting your circle before he changes your address. Before the new room appears, certain voices begin to fade. Before the new opportunity manifests, certain relationships begin to loosen. Before the visible season changes around you, God begins to change the atmosphere around your heart. Why? Because access determines atmosphere, and atmosphere determines what can grow. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, does this mean I must cut everybody off? Does this mean I must become cold, suspicious, and hard? No. That is not maturity. Bitterness is not discernment. Isolation is not holiness. Pride is not protection. You can love people without giving them authority over your process. You can forgive people without giving them the keys to your inner life. You can honor people without allowing them to speak death over what God is building in you. This is where many people miss the new season. God is trying to protect their future, but nostalgia keeps dragging them back to expired access. They say, but we have history. They say, but we have known each other for years. They say, but they were there when I had nothing. Listen carefully. History is valuable, but history is not always destiny. Some relationships were assigned to your survival, not your assignment. Some people were necessary for who you were, but they do not have the grace to steward who you are becoming. Do not let emotional nostalgia make permanent what God made seasonal. A season is not a betrayal because it ended. A relationship is not worthless because it was temporary. There are people who helped you in one chapter who cannot walk with you into the next one. That does not make them enemies. That makes them seasonal. You need enough spiritual maturity to bless what was, release what is finished, and obey what God is requiring now. When God protects your next season, He often changes who has access to your inner life. Not because you are better than them, not because you are more important than them, not because you are too deep for ordinary people. No, because the thing God is forming in you requires the right atmosphere. Seeds do not grow in every environment. Babies do not develop in every room. Dreams do not mature under every voice. If you keep exposing your blueprint to critics, you will start building with fear instead of faith. Show your blueprint to builders, not critics. A builder may correct you, but the correction has wisdom in it. A critic may observe you, but the observation has poison in it. A builder asks, how can this be strengthened? A critic asks, who do you think you are? A builder brings tools. A critic brings opinions. A builder carries faith, experience, discipline, and counsel. A critic carries jealousy, fear, insecurity, and unbelief. You must know the difference. There is a difference between counsel and commentary. Counsel is authorized by wisdom. Commentary is fueled by access. Counsel helps you obey God more clearly. Commentary makes you doubt what God already said. Counsel may hurt your feelings, but it heals your direction. Commentary may flatter your emotions, but it weakens your conviction. Stop giving commentator authority in the room where only counsel belongs. Even Jesus understood selective access. He loved the multitudes, but He did not explain everything to the multitudes. He had 12, but only 3 went with Him into certain moments. That is not rejection. That is order. Love can be wide, but access must be managed. Compassion can be generous, but intimacy must be governed. If the Son of God practiced selective access, why do you think you can fulfill assignment with an unguarded inner circle? Some of you are tired, not because your assignment is too heavy, but because too many unauthorized voices are touching it. Every time God gives you instruction, you run to people who were never called to confirm it. Every time purpose begins to rise, you submit it to someone whose fear is louder than their faith. Then you wonder why you feel confused. Confusion is what happens when you let too many people vote on what only God has authority to command. Guard your process like your life depends on it. Because in many ways, it does. Guard your peace. Guard your vision. Guard your obedience. Guard your hunger. Not everyone deserves a seat at the table of your becoming. Some people love the old you because the old you made them comfortable. The old you apologized for having standards. The old you stayed small so nobody would feel challenged. The old you needed their approval. But the becoming you is disciplined. The becoming you is focused. The becoming you does not ask insecure people for permission to obey God. And when you change, some people will call it pride. Let them. When you set boundaries, some people will call it distance. Let them. When you stop explaining every decision, some people will call it strange. Let them. You are not responsible for managing every opinion about your obedience. You are responsible for obeying God with a clean heart. Do not become cruel. Do not become arrogant. Do not weaponize boundaries to punish people. That is immaturity. But do not become so soft that everybody has access to the part of you God is trying to consecrate. Boundaries are not selfish. Boundaries are sacred. Peace is not weakness. Peace is stewardship. Discernment is not judgment. Discernment is protection. So if your circle is changing, do not panic. Pray. Pay attention. Ask God who strengthens your obedience and who feeds your confusion. Ask who carries wisdom and who carries fear. Ask who can celebrate your growth without needing to control it. Because before God changes where you are going, He often changes who can walk close to you. Your address may look the same, your job may look the same, your circumstances may look the same, but access is shifting because atmosphere is being protected. Let people go with dignity. Love them, forgive them, honor them. But do not hand them authority over a season they were not assigned to steward. Your next season needs clean voices, mature counsel, disciplined companionship, and spiritual order. Because when God protects your future, He does not just open doors, He guards access. And sometimes the clearest sign that favor is coming is that God starts removing the wrong voices before He reveals the right room. And after God guards access, he begins to govern appetite. This is where the season becomes serious, because now God is not only showing you who cannot go with you, he is showing you what cannot go with you. The habit cannot go. The laziness cannot go. The emotional reaction cannot go. The private disorder cannot go. The spiritual inconsistency cannot go. Favor does not cancel discipline. Favor demands it. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if God favors me, he will just open the door and make it happen. No. That is childish theology. God is not a magician decorating your irresponsibility. God is a father developing your capacity. Favor is not God ignoring your disorder. Favor is God requiring you to come into alignment so the blessing does not destroy you when it arrives. God will not promote what your discipline cannot sustain. Write that in your spirit. God is too wise to give you visibility when you have no structure. He is too loving to give you increase when your stewardship is broken. He is too faithful to put weight on a life that has not learned order. Some of you are praying for a bigger platform, but you cannot manage your present assignment. You are praying for more money, but you will not govern the money already in your hand. You are praying for influence, but your emotions still control your mouth. A new season will expose old systems. It will expose how you use your time. It will expose how you respond under pressure. It will expose whether you pray only when you are afraid or whether prayer is your foundation. It will expose whether you study because you love truth or because you need something to say. It will expose whether your integrity works in private or only when people are watching. Promotion does not create character. Promotion reveals character. That is why hidden preparation is not wasted time. Hidden preparation is where public capacity is built. You pray when nobody calls your name. You study when nobody invites you to speak. You develop skill when nobody is applauding. You practice integrity when nobody can reward you. You learn emotional control when nobody knows how much you wanted to react. You show up consistently when your feelings are tired, your flesh is loud, and your desire is weak. Discipline must become more important than desire. Desire is good, but desire is not enough. Desire starts, discipline finishes. Desire dreams, discipline builds. Desire shouts in the moment, discipline shows up in the morning. Anybody can want a new season. Few people are willing to become the kind of person the new season requires. You do not prove readiness by excitement, you prove readiness by consistency. This is where many people fail. They love prophecy, but they hate process. They love being told what God is going to do, but they resist becoming who God requires them to be. They want the fruit, but they despise the roots. But before fruit appears above ground, roots are being strengthened underground. The seed does not argue with the soil. The seed does not demand applause while it is hidden. The seed submits to darkness because it knows that darkness is not death, it is development. Your hidden season is root season. It may look quiet, but something is forming. It may look slow, but something is deepening. It may look like nothing is happening, but roots are learning how to hold the weight of fruit. Shallow roots cannot sustain heavy branches. Weak roots cannot survive strong winds. If God is taking you higher, he must first take you deeper. Height without depth is dangerous. Visibility without roots is collapse waiting for an audience. So stop begging God to rush what he is trying to root. Stop asking for fruit while refusing discipline. Stop confusing delay with denial when God is building capacity in places people cannot see. Get your routine in order. Get your finances in order. Get your mouth in order. Get your prayer life in order. Get your emotions in order. Get your commitments in order. Order is not bondage. Order is the container that allows favor to function. And do not tell me you are waiting for motivation. Motivation is too unstable to lead your destiny. Motivation comes and goes. Discipline stays. Motivation needs a feeling. Discipline obeys a decision. Motivation likes crowds. Discipline works in silence. If you need applause to obey, you are not ready to carry weight. If you need people to notice before you prepare, you are not ready for public responsibility. If you need validation to be faithful, Your identity is still too fragile for favor. God is watching how you handle the hidden place. Heaven is not impressed by performance. Heaven looks at stewardship. Can you be faithful when nobody celebrates you? Can you be honest when nobody checks the receipt? Can you forgive when nobody knows how badly you were wounded? Can you study when nobody booked you? Can you keep praying when nothing has changed? Can you obey the last instruction before asking for the next one? This is not punishment. This is preparation. God is not burying you to forget you. He is planting you to strengthen you. Burial and planting can look the same from the outside, but the intention is different. Burial ends a thing. Planting begins a thing. The enemy wants you to think you have been buried. God says, no, you have been planted. And when the roots are strong enough, the fruit will not need to beg for recognition. It will speak. So let discipline outgrow visibility. Let obedience become stronger than emotion. Let consistency become louder than announcement. Work while it is hidden. Pray while it is quiet. Study while no one is calling. Build while the door is closed. Govern yourself before you ask God to enlarge your territory. Because the fourth sign that favor is coming is not always excitement. Sometimes it is structure. Sometimes it is correction. Sometimes it is God making discipline more important than desire. Because He will not release a future that your present habits would destroy. And once discipline begins to take authority over desire, the fifth sign begins to rise with clarity. The burden in your heart starts sounding like an assignment. It is no longer just a feeling. It is no longer just a concern. It is no longer just something that bothers you for a moment and then disappears. It keeps coming back. It gets clearer. It gets heavier. It gets more specific. You see a problem, and something inside you refuses to be silent. You hear a cry, and your spirit says, that is connected to me. You notice a gap, an injustice, a need, a broken system, a wounded people, and suddenly your frustration has language. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking every burden is stress. No, every weight is not oppression. Some weight is assignment. Some heaviness is not the devil attacking your peace. Some heaviness is God awakening your purpose. There is a burden that drains you because it is not yours, and there is a burden that calls you because heaven planted it in you. You must learn the difference. One is distraction, the other is destiny. A new season of favor announces itself when your burden becomes too clear to keep ignoring. Before the door opens, the burden speaks. Before the platform comes, the problem becomes personal. Before resources arrive, responsibility starts rising in your spirit. God does not give favor so you can become an ornament. God gives favor so you can become an answer. Favor is not decoration. Favor is deployment. Favor is not God polishing your image. Favor is God empowering your contribution. This is where many people are confused. They think favor means, how can I be seen? That is ambition. Assignment asks, what problem was I designed to solve? Ambition wants applause. Assignment wants impact. Ambition asks, who is watching? Assignment asks, who is hurting? Ambition builds a name. Assignment builds a solution. Ambition loves visibility. Assignment accepts responsibility. And if your prayer for favor is only about being seen, you are still too shallow to understand purpose. God did not design you merely to occupy space. You were manufactured with intent. You were created with a function. Your gifts are not random. Your pain is not random. Your experiences are not random. Your burden is not random. The manufacturer never creates without purpose. A chair was designed to support weight. A key was designed to open something. A seed was designed to produce after its kind. And you were designed to solve something in the earth that corresponds to what God placed inside you. That is why certain things bother you more than they bother other people. Everybody can see the problem, but you cannot sleep because of it. Everybody can complain about the condition, but you feel responsible to respond. Everybody can criticize the brokenness, but something in you starts imagining structure, strategy, healing, order, movement, reform. That frustration may not be bitterness. It may be evidence. The problem that aggravates you may be pointing to the solution God hid inside you. But be careful. Do not confuse complaining with calling. Complaining points at a problem and demands that someone else fix it. Calling feels the problem and says, Lord, what is my responsibility here? Complaining seeks an audience. Calling seeks obedience. Complaining becomes loud but remains passive. Calling becomes sober and starts preparing. If all you do is talk about what is wrong, you are not carrying assignment yet. You are carrying opinion. Assignment does not merely criticize darkness. Assignment becomes light. And this is why discipline had to come before this sign. Because a burden without discipline becomes frustration. A gift without discipline becomes noise. Passion without structure becomes exhaustion. God does not awaken assignment so you can run wildly. He awakens assignment so you can serve faithfully. The heavier the burden, the greater the need for order. The clearer the purpose, the stronger the discipline must become. You cannot carry divine responsibility with an undisciplined soul. Some of you have been asking God for clarity, and God has been answering through burden. You keep saying, Lord, what am I called to do? But every week, the same problem stirs you. Every month, the same people concern you. Every season, the same assignment returns to your heart. You keep calling it a distraction because it did not arrive with lights, stages, and applause. But purpose often begins as a burden before it becomes a platform. It begins as concern before it becomes influence. It begins as obedience before it becomes recognition. Do not despise the burden because it is not glamorous. Moses did not begin with a throne. He began with a cry from his people. Nehemiah did not begin with a title. He began with grief over broken walls. Jesus looked at the multitude and was moved with compassion. Assignment is often born where compassion and responsibility meet. If nothing moves you, nothing will use you. If nothing burdens you, nothing will build through you. But now, hear me carefully. You must stop copying other people's assignments. Imitation is betrayal of purpose. The enemy of your destiny is not always failure. Sometimes it is imitation. You are so busy studying someone else's door that you have neglected the key in your own hand. You are so busy admiring someone else's grace that you have abandoned your own design. You are so busy trying to sound like them, build like them, serve like them, succeed like them, that your original assignment is suffocating under borrowed identity. God does not favor copies. He favors alignment. Your fingerprint is different. Your history is different. Your burden is different. Your grace is different. Your assignment is different. Stop insulting your Creator by living like He had no original idea when He made you. You were not born to be a duplicate. You were born to be a solution. You were not sent here to echo another person's purpose. You were sent here to reveal what God placed in you. So return to original design. Ask God, what problem has your name on it? Ask what people your pain prepared you to serve. Ask what responsibility keeps returning even when you try to ignore it. Ask what burden becomes clearer every time you pray. Then stop negotiating with fear. Stop waiting for permission from people who do not understand your design. Stop asking critics to bless what only God can authorize. When favor's coming, your burden will not stay vague. It will become clear enough to obey, heavy enough to sober you, specific enough to organize your life around it. And when that happens, do not run from it, answer it, prepare for it, serve through it. Let your life become useful in the hands of God. Because favor is not just God opening doors for you. Favor is God making you an answer for somebody else. Now, this is where you must be careful. Because after discomfort comes, after doors close, after your circle changes, after discipline starts correcting your appetite, after the burden in your heart becomes too clear to ignore, the enemy will try to interpret the process for you. He will whisper, God has abandoned you. He will say, if God loved you, this would be easier. He will say, if favor was really coming, you would not be under this much pressure. That is a lie. Do not let pain become your prophet. Do not let pressure become your interpreter. Do not let delay define God's intention. The process is not punishment. The pressure is not rejection. The waiting is not waste. The silence is not absence. Just because God is not explaining everything does not mean God is not working on anything. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, then why does it hurt? Because development often hurts. Growth stretches. Discipline confronts. Separation aches. Closed doors disappoint. Burdens sober you. But discomfort does not always mean destruction. Sometimes discomfort is evidence that your old capacity is too small for your next assignment. You are not stuck. You are being structured. You are not forgotten. You are being formed. You are not buried. You are being planted. You are not being rejected. You are being refined. What feels like delay may be God building the capacity required for the favor you prayed for. God develops capacity before he displays favor. He builds the root before he reveals the fruit. He strengthens the foundation before he adds another floor. He works on the vessel before he pours the oil. Why? Because public opportunity without private formation can destroy a person. Visibility without character is dangerous. Influence without discipline is dangerous. Resources without stewardship are dangerous. Open doors without obedience are dangerous. Some of you are asking God to display you, but he is still developing you. You are asking him to announce you, but he is still aligning you. You are asking him to increase you, but he is still honoring your inner life, so the increase does not become your idol. God is not withholding because he is cruel. He is preparing because he is wise. And stop demanding proof before obedience. That is not faith. That is negotiation. You keep saying, Lord, open the door and then I will move. God is saying, move and you will discover the door. Some doors do not open to spectators. They open to obedience. Some paths do not appear while you are sitting in fear. They appear when your feet start moving in agreement with what God already said. You do not need all the details to obey the next instruction. You need faithfulness. You need discipline. You need surrender. You need enough maturity to say, God, I do not understand everything, but I trust your hand in the process. I trust you when comfort loses its voice. I trust you when doors close. I trust you when relationships shift. I trust you when discipline corrects me. I trust you when the burden becomes heavy. Do not waste this season complaining about what God is using to prepare you. Pay attention. There is structure in the pressure. There is formation in the hidden place. There is wisdom in the waiting. There is purpose in the pruning. The same God who called you is the God who is conditioning you. So stop interpreting every hard season as abandonment. Stop calling preparation punishment. Stop calling silence absence. Stop calling discipline delay. God is not trying to break your destiny. He is trying to build the person who can carry it. Now stand up in your spirit. Agree with the process. Obey in the hidden place. Let God form what favor will soon require. Now, if that is true, then you cannot sit in this season like a victim and expect to walk into the next season like a steward. You must move like someone who has been chosen for purpose, not chosen for convenience, not chosen for applause, not chosen for a life where everybody understands you, chosen for purpose. And purpose always demands movement before comfort explains itself. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Perfect conditions are a trap. If you wait until everything feels right, you will never obey. If you wait until everybody agrees, you will never build. If you wait until your emotions are calm, you will never move. If you wait until the door is obvious, you will miss the instruction that was supposed to lead you to it. Faith is not waiting until fear disappears. Faith is obeying while fear is still talking. Some of you keep saying, I will start when I get more support. I will move when I get more clarity. I will obey when I feel stronger. No, that is negotiation dressed up as wisdom. God did not ask you to feel ready. He asked you to be faithful. Readiness is proven in obedience. You prove readiness for a new season by obeying God in the season you are in. Start where you are. Use what you have. Build in the dark. Prepare without applause. Pray without an audience. Study without recognition. Serve without being celebrated. Forgive before they apologize. Discipline your appetite before the door opens. Guard your peace before the crowd arrives. Obey before people understand. If you cannot obey God in obscurity, do not ask Him to trust you with influence. Now look at your life honestly. Do not become spiritual and vague. Be specific. Which sign is God using right now? Is He disturbing the place that used to feel safe? Then stop crying for the old comfort to come back. Ask what purpose it could no longer serve. Is He closing a door? Then stop begging for access to what cannot carry your future. Is He changing your circle? Then stop forcing expired people into an assigned season. Is He demanding discipline? Then stop calling correction pressure when it is actually preparation. Is the burden in your heart becoming too clear to ignore? Then stop postponing the assignment because it does not look glamorous yet. This is the challenge. Agree with God's process in practical ways. Not just with your mouth, with your schedule, with your habits, with your relationships, with your money, with your words, with your private decisions. Anybody can say yes in a worship service. But can your calendar say yes? Can your spending say yes? Can your friendship say yes? Can your body say yes? Can your reaction say yes? Can your silence say yes when God tells you not to explain yourself? You were not designed to drift. Drifting is what happens when a person has no revelation of purpose. Drifting lets emotions drive. Drifting lets people decide. Drifting lets opportunity become Lord. But you were manufactured with responsibility. You were designed to solve problems, carry answers, represent the kingdom, and bring order where God has assigned you. You are not a spiritual accident wandering through circumstances. You are an ambassador under assignment. So move like it. Stop living like every disruption is a surprise. Stop letting closed doors destroy your identity. Stop giving your peace away to people who do not have authority over your destiny. Stop treating discipline like an enemy. Stop running from the burden that keeps calling your name. The evidence that you believe God is not how loudly you shout about the next season. The evidence is how faithfully you obey in this one. If God has given you discomfort, take the step. If God is closing the door, release the handle. If God is separating your circle, guard the access. If God is correcting your discipline, submit to structure. If God is awakening the burden, start preparing. Do not wait for the crowd. The crowd usually arrives after the obedience has already cost you something. Move before the applause. Move before the confirmation comes through people. Move before your feelings agree. Move because God has spoken. Move because purpose is heavier than comfort. Move because delay has trained you, pressure has formed you, and discipline has made you sober. You do not need permission to obey God. You need courage. You need focus. You need surrender. You need the kind of faith that says, I will not waste the season. I am in waiting for the season I want. There is something God can trust to the person who obeys without being watched. There is something heaven releases to the life that becomes organized around assignment. When you strengthen discipline, when you guard peace, when you accept closed doors, when you honor separation, when you obey the burden, you are telling God, I am not just asking for favor. I am becoming responsible enough to carry it. So stand up inside yourself. Stop apologizing for obedience. Stop explaining conviction to people committed to confusion. Stop delaying because you cannot see the whole road. Take the next step. Make the next decision. Close the wrong door. Protect the right voice. Build the hidden root. Answer the burden. Move like someone chosen for purpose. Because your future is not waiting for your comfort. It is waiting for your agreement. And now let your whole life agree with the favor God is releasing. Not just your words, your life, your schedule, your appetite, your relationships, your obedience, your discipline, your private decisions. Because the evidence of favor is not just what opens for you. The evidence of favor is what God forms within you. A door can open and you still be unprepared. A platform can appear and you still be unstable. A blessing can arrive and you still lack the character to steward it. So God begins inside before He manifests outside. Look at the signs again. He disturbed the comfort that could no longer satisfy your purpose. He closed the doors that could not carry your future. He changed the circle before He changed the address. He made discipline more important than desire. He turned the burden in your heart into an assignment you could no longer ignore. That is not confusion. That is not abandonment. That is not punishment. That is God announcing movement before manifestation. Favor may already be working while nothing looks open yet. Stop right there. I know what you are thinking. You are thinking, if favor is moving, why can I not see it? Because roots move before fruit appears. Foundation moves before walls rise. A child forms before a birth is announced. God does not need public evidence to prove private activity. Just because people cannot see it does not mean heaven is not building it. Just because the door has not opened does not mean favor has not been assigned. Sometimes favor first looks like correction. Sometimes favor first sounds like no. Sometimes favor first feels like separation. Sometimes favor first comes as a burden that will not let you sleep. So agree with God. Not with fear, not with the past, not with the people who only knew the old version of you. Agree with God. If He disturbed it, stop trying to settle back into it. If He closed it, stop standing at the handle begging for yesterday. If He separated it, stop calling every distance rejection. If He disciplined you, stop calling structure bondage. If He burdened you, stop calling your assignment stress. You are not being reduced. You are being refined. You are not losing yourself. You are returning to design. And I want you to make a declaration, not for performance, but for alignment. Say it with conviction. Write it where you can see it. Put it in the comments if this word is calling you to obedience. I will obey God's purpose in this new season. Not I will wait until it is easy. Not I will obey when everybody understands. Not I will move when all my feelings agree. No, I will obey God's purpose in this new season. Let that be your agreement. Let that be your line in the sand. Let that be the sound of your spirit, refusing to waste what God is releasing. And if this teaching is helping you grow in kingdom identity, purpose, discipline, and responsibility, stay connected. Continue growing. Continue learning. Continue letting truth correct you, mature you, and commission you. Because this is not about religious excitement. This is about becoming the kind of person God can trust with assignment. Favor is not a toy. Favor is a trust. Favor is a responsibility. Favor is heaven placing weight on a life that has been formed to carry it. So hear this final charge. Do not run back to what God disturbed. Do not mourn what God closed. Do not fear the process that is forming you. Do not waste the favor that came to make you fruitful. Stand in agreement. Walk in obedience. Guard your peace. Govern your appetite. Honor your assignment. Build the root. Carry the burden. Move with discipline. And when the door opens, you will not enter as a beggar begging for validation. You will enter as a steward, formed by God, aligned with purpose, and ready to be fruitful.